Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. What do we do here? We do matters personal development, relationship and spiritual wellness matters. And today guys, I have prepared for you a beautiful thing. Welcome back to my kitchen. But today we are not making dinner even though it is night time. I decided that you all know that I like to prepare my breakfast beforehand, and so today I just want to show you how I make my vanilla cake. But alongside that, we will be talking about tereng tereng. Guys, today I'm gonna get very vulnerable about career and what that journey has been like for me. And I'd like to hear your views also, because honestly, as a millennial, I think, and you tell me in the comment section whether you're struggling with balancing between finding fulfillment in your career and looking for the money. Because if there's one thing that I have struggled with as an individual, is that because currently and I won't mention necessarily where I work, I feel like that's not my ideal place. And with this economy, guys, I don't want to sound ungrateful. Of course, I'm grateful for where I'm at because I need the money. But to be honest, it's not my ideal place. It's not even ideal. It's not anything close to what I want to do in the long run. But we have to look for the money. So how many of you are in that situation? Or is it a burden that really millennials are carrying? See, I think it's Gen X, right? The ones that come before millennials. I feel like their goal, and I said this in one of the platforms I was speaking at, I feel like they were struggling with just eradicating poverty because that's what they struggled with in their childhood. But for us now, of course, there are people who are struggling with eradicating poverty, and yes, we also do not want to be poor. Nobody wants to be poor, but now there's a conflict of interest, and that is finding fulfillment, or if you're a psychologist, self-actualization. And we are really, personally, I'm really heavy on pursuing purpose, not just for the money, but also heavily, of course, for the money, but also for impact. And so the greatest struggle for me has been that, just finding money where my purpose is. But we don't give up. We have to do what we need to do so that we can achieve both ways. We can win both ways. And we were having that conversation with a lady friend of mine, and it's something I feel like most people are struggling with. But before we talk about that, so we have our ingredients to make our vanilla cake. We like to kill two birds with one stone, and this is why I'll be showing you today how I bake my vanilla cake. Here are my ingredients. We have the flour. I prefer to use the self-raising one, but since I have this, I decided not to buy the self-raising one. I'll just use my baking powder so that it compensates. And then we have my favorite ingredients in baking: desiccated coconut. That's also necessary. And then this is not mandatory for me, this is necessary because now it's like I'm baking a vanilla cake but with a little twist of coconut flavor. And then we have cardamoms. I like to use them in my pastries, to use it in my pastries. And then we have milk, we have eggs, we have sugar. Now for this, unfortunately, I forgot to buy the dark chocolate, so we're gonna use this just to add a little bit of marble-ish effect. And then we have what we're going to whisk the flour with, and this is margarine. Economy ni ngumu, so we are using this. We don't need the tin. We already have the tin, so I bought that. And yeah, so that's what's up. So if guys, you're interested in baking, if you love just baking a little bit for your family, especially this festive season, here is what you need. And of course we have our what do you call it, essence. Gosh, I'm forgetting our essence. We're going to use vanilla essence since we are making a vanilla cake. And so the first step, basically, since I've done this for such a long time, I just know how to measure. But if you haven't, it is advisable to use a measuring cup. There's those measuring cups that are sold even in supermarkets, so that you don't exceed the ingredients or underestimate. Okay, so the first thing to do normally, I measure this. I don't want to use too much of it because the cake is just for the two of us and any guest that maybe comes later. So we have this. This is margarine. I'll just measure a little bit of it. Oh God, what is happening with this margarine? Is it legit? Okay, why does it look weird? It's breaking weirdly. I really hope it. That's it. Okay, so yeah. So I feel like this is enough so that the cake does not sort of break. To avoid breakage, you use a little bit of it depending on the amount of cake you want to bake. So once I'm done with my margarine, the next thing I'm adding onto it is sugar. They call it the dry ingredients, right? You first of all use the dry ingredients except for flour. I think flour, they call it flour, yeah. So I add a little bit more of sugar to taste. So yeah, I'm hoping that's good enough. Right, so with those two ingredients, now I can use my whisk to whisk this until it looks kind of until it looks semi-solid, right? Not totally solid, but at least. So this is a very tricky stage because you don't want the sugar to spill all over, but it might spill a little bit. So to avoid that, just put your tin straight up and then until the sugar and the butter blend. So guys, I'd like you to tell me in the comment section about maybe your workplace. Do you feel like you're in the right place? Do you feel like quitting? Do you feel like there's something else that's better that you can do but doesn't necessarily like sort of give you the money? Because here the conflict of interest, guys, is finding fulfillment and the money. And the question is it possible to have both at the same time? Because guys, what I'm doing now is my hobby, but like just content creation, talking about personal development, it is what I want to do in the long run. But before there, you know, we still need to pay the bills. So tell me about your experience and where you're currently working. So guys, the goal is to just make sure that the sugar and the butter blend in well enough. You can see it's not yet blended, so I'm just gonna keep blending until it's well blended, until they mix as they should. Because if there's one thing that would affect the quality of your cake is how you measure your ingredients, and two, how you mix them up. If you don't mix them well, then it's not gonna work. And again, if you don't have this whisk, you can use the manual one. There's a manual one, I don't have it now. But also, if you don't have that, you can use this. But it's usually a lot more work. So I'm privileged to be using this. Yeah, but I've used this for a long time, this Mwiko for a long time, such a Mwiko for a long time before. And I've also used the handmade, the manual whisk. So I think, let's meet when I'm adding on some other ingredients. at this point where you're adding in your eggs is where you also add in your essence, because the essence of the essence is to make sure that your cake, you remove that taste, that egg taste, right? Because you don't want to take cake that's tasting like eggs all over. So because you're making a vanilla cake, it's gonna smell like vanilla and it's gonna taste like vanilla and not like eggs, right? So you repeat the process, and because the egg is very liquid, you stir it a little bit before you start whisking so that it doesn't, spill all over, right? And you continue with the process. I don't know if you guys saw, but it's become more liquid now. So far, so good. I think the vanilla essence is coming through. We add in a little bit more. Don't add in too much, because too much of something is poisonous. So I think now at this point, the next thing we need to add now is the flour, or the flour, however you like to call it. You add in bit by bit. And of course, because we don't have the self-raising flour, we add this. Please make sure you're not using maize flour or maize flour. So at this point, I will first use this so that again we don't spill everything everywhere. You know, the flour is a bit loose, so you need to make sure it's mixed up well with the liquid ingredients, so that you're able to now mix it with the whisk, because you see the whisk is electric, so it's moving really fast. It's easy for it to just spill the ingredients. And I'm hoping I haven't forgotten anything. The one thing I wouldn't want to forget is this. So let's just add it in the first cup of flour. But if you're not good in baking, kindly make sure you start with the self-raising flour to avoid making mistakes with the amount of yeast you use, or rather baking powder. So I'm hoping that's enough for the amount of flour I'll use. So there's like a technique that we must use while stirring this. You stir like that halfway and then you cut. Honestly, I don't remember why we do this, but it's a functional need. Oh, did I come too close? So you stir like this and then you cut. You stir and then you cut. And because the ingredients that are liquidy are not yet enough, so this is the point where now you start adding in the milk as well, so that now you get the quality of dough you need for your cake. Now we are almost getting there. Actually, the mixing is usually problematic or hectic when you're mixing the butter with sugar. But at this point, we go faster. So guys, going back to the other main topic as well that we were talking about, being in a place where you're not really comfortable, or where you don't feel like you're giving the best, and not because you don't want to give your best, but it's because it's not your ideal place. You know, I'm a sucker for personalities. I really talk about personalities, and I believe personalities affect your career, your relationships. Because if you come to me asking me about your relationships, and this is something I also saw with the person who took us through premarital, personalities are very necessary in determining career choice and your partner in a relationship. So today we are talking basically on career choice. So because for any individual, if say your personality is what a choleric maybe, or say your personality is a phlegmatic, whatever personality you are or temperament you are, it calls for you to be in a certain field to give your maximum. Okay, you can be, for example, if you're a melancholy, you can be a psychologist, you can be a teacher, you can be a pastor. There's so many fields. You can be a lawyer. There's so many fields you can exercise your prowess, and therefore it's important to know what you're interested in all of these fields. So like for me, where I am currently working, I'm usually in an office setup, and there's a lot of paperwork. And as much as I write a lot, I'm specific to the things I like writing. Actually, in my workplace, one of the things, or one of the places where I'm needed most, it's in, I think, writing stuff. And now, of course, we do a lot of human resource stuff. I help in human resource stuff. Yeah, but mainly when it comes to writing stuff, I do a lot. So that's what I am mostly in the office. But I don't like that setup because I like being my own boss, to be honest. I like determining what today will be about. I like determining where I will be, what time I will be there, and most importantly, there are certain activities that I like to do. For example, I like interviewing people when it comes to and guys, I don't know if I'm a good multitasker, but yeah, I like interviewing people, but it's been so difficult, guys. Oi, tumejaribu kushusha hizo nyavu, but we're trusting God. It's been so difficult reaching out to people who I'd like to interview maybe. And so I decided, by the end of this year, I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna ask God now to help me identify what I can do, even on my own, like what I can do still on my own and on my channel, so that I stop getting stuck on the idea of just interviewing and believing that maybe my platform is, or my brand is gonna take off only when I have other people on my channel. And this is why I'm getting creative with some of this stuff, you know. Just taking you through my activities in the kitchen as we talk about matters that mean a lot to each of us when it comes to life issues. And so honestly, sometimes it takes a lot of mental fortitude for me to wake up and go to work. If my boss sees this, you're in for the punishment, you guys, because I'm doing this for you and to encourage you in case you're waking up to go to a place where you don't feel happy about. Because also the question is, well, you might not be feeling so happy about where you go to work, but what do? Do you stop working and you still don't have money to pay your bills, or do you continue working but understand the nature of your workplace as much as you don't like it? Cause now this is the most important. Shonda Rhimes is a playwright. She said one time that do what is available until you get to what you want to do eventually. And that's what I've been doing up to this point. And I'm believing that at the end of the day, somehow, I'll manage to do what I'm called to do. Because guys, I'm not letting this go. I'm not letting this purpose go. I'm not letting this passion go. We're going to feel the pain until we get the prize. Clap for me for rhyming, please. Anyway, yeah. So what do you do? The question is, what tools do you employ if at this point you're waking up to go to a place where you don't feel comfortable, where you don't feel fulfilled, where you don't feel like you're making the most impact, because you know your potential and you know probably that you can do more. So what do you do? What do you do in that case? So for me, one thing I have done for myself is identify what don't I like in that workspace. All right. So is there something I can change about it? No. Why? Because it's not my business, right? So if it's not my business, then there's nothing I can change about it. So what I change is how I look at it. I accept and I am ready for it. I go with an expectation of that. Maybe I will not like certain things, but if I don't like them, then I have to get the courage to face them. That's what I keep telling myself. And interestingly, I don't know, it's kind of reverse psychology. When you finally stop expecting, and I know sometimes lack of expectation is ungodly, but when you finally let go and accept, you actually start attracting things that are going to favor you. Why? Because you're open-minded, you know. So psychology promotes a lot of open-mindedness, and actually the Bible also does, because the Bible says a fool, yani, if you're not able to change your mind, then you're a fool, you're not wise. Because you need to be able to change your mind so that you're able to adjust to the circumstances. But one thing that remains solid is that God is in the picture. God is at the center of it. So every morning, if I wake up and I'm not feeling the vibe to go to work, I tell myself, you know what? Be grateful that one of the things, what you want to complain about, somebody else desires it. So until you get to a place where you have what you need, then appreciate that which you have at the moment. So that's one of the things I do to make sure that I enjoy my workplace. And when I go with a positive attitude. Much as I don't like this place, I have to be my best. In fact, guys, if there's one thing I told myself, for example, if I have a pile of work at work, I will never quit when I have a pile of work, because I don't want to leave that place with a bad name. So the other thing is to give your best. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. In fact, there are things I struggle with a lot. But every time I know that I have work to do, and I have this, imposter that is telling me to quit, I can never quit when I have undone work. So one thing is to make sure that you're always at par. If you're needed to do certain work, just make sure you do it. And you don't want to leave because there is work. Unless, honestly, sometimes your gut feeling just tells you it's time. But make sure that you have tried your level best, so that when you go to the next, God can bless it. Because to whom much is given, much is expected. So you don't, and the other funny thing is that, see guys, I love creating content. And I was like, for today, I was looking forward to creating this content. But I got home and I felt like, do I have to? No, that's the other challenge, discipline. Because if you're leaving your current workplace because you are lacking discipline, because you want to come and laze around, then just stay in your current workplace. If your boss is the one that is making you stay disciplined, then forget about the other place you want to go to. Just stay there until you're a disciplined human being. So I realized that, you know what, if I'm about say being my own boss, then I have to also be keen on being disciplined. So guys, we've been adding flour into our mixture, into our dough, and I've also added cardamoms, if you noticed. I don't want you to lose track of all the ingredients we are adding, but if you do, just go back, you'll see it. Alright, so I have a director who is my husband behind the camera. We appreciate you. Right, so we've been really pushing this content creation thing and this brand, and we're not gonna give up. Tunashusha nyavu. I mean, that's been the theme, by the way, of this month, hasn't it been? It's December, and we will keep shushaing those nyavus until Jesus shows up in the picture, and until Jesus says, yay, well done, good and faithful servant, here is your reward. Gifts. We are going to receive those gifts from above. Did I forget anything, guys? Did I forget? So at this point, I keep adding my milk until I'm satisfied with the texture and the heaviness or lightness of my dough. And because we are really close, because we're actually really close now to baking, what we get to do now is prepare our oven. For the longest, guys, I have been baking with a jiko ya makaa, and it's also as easy as just using an oven, so nothing should limit you. All right, so we're just gonna switch on our oven. So the temperatures, so we have our knobs here. Make sure that the temperatures First of all, of course, you switch it there. Make sure that it's at this point where the heat is coming from the bottom and from the top, because the cake needs to cook both ways, from the bottom and from the top. So that knob is very important. Do that first. And then the temperatures are meant to be at 180. Yeah, 180, between 180 between 220 and 180. That's where your temperatures are supposed to be at. So normally I do it at 180. Yeah. And then now you come to the time, and you see now there is light there showing you that now the work has started. So we are gonna use 80 minutes. 10 are for preheating your oven. Make sure your oven is preheated when you're putting your cake inside there, or your dough to cook. Make sure your oven is preheated. So we have that. For those 10 minutes we will be preparing the cake pan. Here we go. We will be preparing that. And oopsie, that's what's up. So guys, I know there are so many of us in that quagmire. You know, as a millennial, just tell me, is it a personal struggle, or is it a generational thing? You know, the way in the Bible, in Exodus, there was a generation that used to sin a lot, and then there was a generation that used to be redeemed, and that cycle, I don't know, is it a generational thing that millennials are struggling, are having a conflict of interest between finding fulfillment and finding money, the mullah? All right, but I just want to encourage you that you can have both. Kwanza Gen Zs, hey, wamekuja na moto because there's a level of BD that they are having, and also breakthrough. Me, I've seen so many of them really prospering, but now the problem is, again, they don't have that control. They get the money and then they waste it, or they misuse it, or they just destroy or destruct their lives with it. So I don't know, maybe this process is necessary, and it's good to appreciate that God takes you on a personal journey. You know, I might have struggled. Honestly, the truth of the matter is, one time I was coming from work not very long ago, and I was telling myself, is my life a joke? Honestly, like, why do I feel this way about my job? You know, I'm almost hitting my 30s, but just when you want to give up, God is right there waiting on you. You see that pressure that makes you, that labor pain that makes you finally deliver. It could be at work at that point. So don't give up, guys. Jesus is gonna show up at some point. But I hope you noted those pointers, that if you want to leave your workplace because you are lacking discipline, stay until the discipline is self-motivated. If you're leaving your workplace because there is workload, please, first of all, finish your job. Leave that place with a good name. A good name is better than great riches. So funny enough, I taste my dough just to make sure it has the right ingredients, and I love it. The sugar is great. The essence is great. And now my magic ingredients. Ta-da! This is desiccated coconut. It's gonna add on to the flavor, and it's done. We really use it, so that's why it was kidogo, but that's enough for this. And I can't thank my mother enough for putting in or impacting this tradition in me, because it adds some flavor to our home that I don't have necessarily to go to the supermarket and buy cake. There's just a level, there's a taste that homemade cakes have, or homemade anything, homemade fries, homemade cake, homemade choma. There's just a taste that's different from when you buy it. Yeah, so I think our dough is pretty much great. I really hope I haven't forgotten anything. So this is what we are having. So it's gonna flow easily on my pan, like that, on my baking pan. So yeah, that's what's up. And guys, honestly, I think I need to improve onto what I normally know about baking. I'm going to try and improve, especially on knowing how to what is it called, this thing that we add on to cakes, occasional cakes, what are they called, Mr. Husband? What do we call that thing that we add on to cake? Icing. Yeah, icing. Not the hard icing though. I don't like the hard icing. The other one that you can take plainly, even without the actual cake. I need to know how to prepare that. Once I do, I'm gonna plug you guys. But before that, guys, as I shusha these nyavus, as I try to make my purpose align with the bills, please make sure you subscribe, comment, let's interact. Let me hear your life experiences. What have you been struggling with? Is it relationships? Is it spirituality? Is it career, personal growth? Please tell me in the comment section. Msiniache nikijiongelesha. It's a lot of work already to talk to myself like that. But when you interact, you motivate me, okay? When you like, you make the video visible to other people. When you subscribe, you also make the video visible to other people. So tusaidiane kushusha hizi nyavu. God sends human beings to help other human beings. So ukikata kutumwa, mtafanyika kama Jonah. Mtamezwa, until you go to where you're supposed to go to. So what we're doing now to our what is it called, baking pan, is dusting it, just to make sure that the cake does not stick on the sides or on the walls of the pan. Right, so this, you apply butter and then you add the flour like this. Oopsie. So guys, I know working environments can be toxic, and I know sometimes you want to quit, but please don't quit recklessly unless you have really heard from God, okay? Don't quit recklessly. Just find a way of loving that current workplace, because also an attitude of gratitude is something that God really appreciates. So don't just quit. Talk to God. Keep being your best self. I'm very paranoid about the amount of baking powder, and that's why I don't like using the normal flour. I like using the self-raising one, just to clear those doubts. But for now, we hope and pray, Jesus, please let this cake be the best. Right, so I hope this video has equipped you guys, not only with baking, but also just being fully baked in your place of work. Don't be half-baked. Just continue to improve your skills and what you like doing. Don't stop doing it. Do it as a hobby until it can actually pay your bills, because that's the trick I'm using. Yeah, and just staying grateful, because God is good and He will never leave us nor forsake us. And guys, I can't tell you how proud I am of myself for doing this content today. And I hope you will love it. And I hope you will learn a thing or two. And I hope you will share, most importantly. Okay, so now we can finally add our dough into the baking pan. And that's what I'm doing now. So just give me a minute if you're not seeing me, because I need to add the dough. Mr. Producer, you can bring them closer to me. You can bring our audience closer to me. Guys, by the way, I pursued psychology in college, in uni, and before then I had started on pharmacy classes, guys. And every time I don't get the amount of money I'm looking for in my career, honestly, it comes back to me. See, one of those things you're like, do I regret doing this? Do I regret doing this or not? To be honest, at some point I feel like I do. But there's one time I was struggling with that thing, and I feel like God spoke to me and said, you know what? You wouldn't understand if you don't know how God speaks. You wouldn't understand, but I can tell you for sure that one time I had really struggled. One day I had really struggled with what if I had just done pharmacy? Would I not just be in my place of work, earning good money and all those things? And then after I had struggled with that, prayed, I went through social media just normally, just because I'm a social media person. I just went through social media and I came across this story of a young man who pursued medicine. And I'm not saying that people should not pursue certain courses. That's my story. You see, there's uniqueness in everybody's story. That's what I'm telling you. Please keep in touch with the source, who is God, so that he keeps communicating to you. So I'm trying to make a marble cake, guys. You'll allow me to speak about a million things at once, right? So I'm making my marble thingy. So I mixed my drinking chocolate with a little bit of milk. I said the ideal chocolate to use is the cocoa, the original cocoa, the bitter one. It makes the best marble because it's kind of darker, way darker, and that's what you want. But if you don't have that, you work with what you have, right? Yum. So I came across this story of a young man who actually pursued medicine, and he solely pursued medicine so that he could help his family get out of the bad situation they were in, poverty and lack and all of those things. And guys, it was so sad, you can't believe it, that when he had finally completed his course, imagine, because of the desperation, you see, desperation is not a good thing. That's what I'm saying. It's good to stay grateful and hopeful at the same time and do the best you can. Imagine after spending all those years in campus pursuing medicine, at some point he gave up because he wasn't finding the job that he was looking for. And guess what? Sadly, he committed suicide. So I saw that and I'm like, oops. Where is your hope? Where is your trust? Your trust should be in the Lord. Whether you've done medicine or accountancy, is that what you call the course, or teaching, or whatever you're at, please don't be desperate. Stay hopeful. Trust in God. He's the author and the finisher of your faith. He's the one who has called you, and he will not leave you nor forsake you. And you need to trust that, regardless of the noise that's there out there. Just try your best. Okay, seek counsel, seek advice. Let people tell you. It's good to listen. It's good to listen because there are people who've gone before you. There are people who know what they're talking about. It's important to have mentors. So yeah, listen. Don't just do things without seeking counsel. Seek counsel, but at the end of the day, wherever you're at, trust that you're in the right place and that God is gonna come through for you when it's time. And trust the process, guys. Just like we're trusting the process of this cake, just like we are believing that this cake is gonna come out looking yummy and looking great and looking cute. Trust the process of your life. Trust the one that called you. Trust the one that allowed you to exist at a time like this, and everything is gonna be sour. Like sour, not bitter. So yeah, that's the dough. That's the marble effect. And last but not least, add the last. Gosh, and I feel like the dough is a lot. Jeez. I hope it's not gonna eat the fura too much beyond the pan, the capacity of the baking pan or the baking tin. So our oven is preheating just fine. It's preheated actually. It's ready now. So what we're doing is basically just putting the dough into the oven. will be ready. So guys, be kind enough to comment and tell me what you've learned from this video, and tell me your own life experience. You know, I know work environments can be toxic, all that I know, but please build a mental fortitude to know that God is going before you and He will align your path. And don't give up. Just don't give up. Just don't give up. Even when you're quitting, eventually, just trust God. You know, don't live an anxious life. Do not be anxious about a thing. What you will eat, or what you will drink, or what you will wear, or where you will sleep, guys, because God will send His angels. You know, He will give you a visitation just when you don't expect it. Just be your best. Just do your best where you're at. And trust God to do the rest, honeys. Yippee! I'm excited, guys. I'm excited because look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. Gosh, I can't bend it, guys. I don't know if you're gonna see it. Yeah. Look at that beauty. Yay! This is what we have, and we'll see what we'll get out of the oven. So, are you fully baked, or are you half baked? What we're expecting to get here is a fully baked cake. So guys, let me tell you, life is unpredictable. So in our process of baking, imagine steamer zimeenda, so we had to maneuver another way of baking our cake because we couldn't leave it half baked. And such is life, guys. And this is, I mean, I like the way this video is coming, you know, together, because we were just talking about when things are not working your way, guys, your way. So anyway, we have a Meko gas, of course, and we googled on ways of maybe cooking or baking your cake without an oven, and you also don't have a jiko, so we figured a way out. Here we have our pot that we are preheating again. Don't be afraid of starting over, guys, when things are hard. So we have our pot that we are preheating, and then we're going to put our, I think it's even ready because this one heats up really fast. So inside there, it's hot, right? So inside there we have salt, and we have some arranged spoons as we've seen. So I need you guys to see what's happening. Can you uncover it for me? It's okay, either way. So now we are transferring our beautiful cake. Sorry cake. See, it had,
but it's almost done.
Yeah. Okay, get it off. Oh, it's not done. Imagine this is just the crust. So guys, this is how far we've gone with our cake, and then steamer zikafanya the thing. So now we need a bigger pot. Jesus, how do we do that? Okay, and you don't want to drop it. So you put salt at the bottom of your bigger pan, and then you arrange those spoons like that if you don't have the stones. And then now we are going to put in the smaller tin into this big pan. All right. Well, I didn't see this coming, guys. Honestly, I didn't. You guys, please give me the likes. Oh, give me the likes, guys. The effort is giving. So imagine this is life. Things don't happen the way you expect them to, but I mean, nothing is stopping us. We are the unstoppable. Yeah, so we had to use all the salt that we had, guys. Oh my god, give me the likes. All right, give me the likes. Give us the likes. Hapa even the fundi is coming through. Having a fundi is necessary, apparently. Look at that, lovelies. Oh my god. Just drop it. Eish, guys, my friends, tell me God was not intentional. Oh, tell me God was not intentional in giving me this lovely creative husband of mine. Thank you so much. Right, so now what we do is reduce the heat of our Meko gas. reduce the heat, because you know one thing you know about cake is that you can't use too much heat. It requires kidogo heat kabisa. Am I adding or reducing surely?
But to reduce sana.
Okay.
That is enough.
There?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot.
No. Do you know it's the pot is big inside?
Okay.
So there is room for
Right, all that heat. Oh my goodness. Guys, if you don't give me likes on this video, saweni too. So we will show you when we are finally done. Of course, we're experiencing blackout, but our creativity is top notch. See you soon. So guys, this is what we have. After the power outage, we were unstoppable. This is what we have. I'm speechless. I can't believe that we actually managed to do this. This is lovely. In fact, this is it. This is what we needed. We all needed to learn this hack, because what if you don't have an oven? And if you don't have a pot, you don't necessarily use a pot. You can use a larger, like sufuria. Add salt, put the spoons or the stones just to make sure that the tin that has the dough or the cake is not in direct contact with the other outer sufuria. So yes, let's see what we have after we overturn it. So now we are trying to loosen it up on the sides just to make sure we avoid breakage, like we said. Guys, I'm nervous because I've never tried like baking with a Meco gas, so I don't know what happens at the bottom. Okay, yeah, so here is what we have for a first timer with baking with a Meco gas. It burnt a little bit, but even professional bakers will tell you if this happens, then you try and remove this part, just this upper part. This is what you do. Just cut it off, because I know it's just this part that is burnt, and this is what they do actually. So this part is what they use icing sugar. This is where they apply their icing sugar. So this is what you do, guys. Make sure you remove this burnt part like that. And it's so spongy. Oh my goodness. It is just so spongy. I can't believe it. Whew. Guys. Oh. So spongy. So lovely. You can see we are only removing the upper part. Make sure you don't cut like too much of it. Just remove this bit so that you're left with your lovely cake. Oopsie. Yeah, like this. It's hot. Yay, I like the evenness. Oh, love it. Wonderful. So I think that's about it, guys. We made it. If you ask me, we really did it. Right, there goes our cake. Guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I can assure you this cake is gonna be yummy. So why don't you see you in the next one? Don't forget to subscribe and share. Thank you guys. Bye bye.